Hello coaster lovers. So a popular way to get your adrenaline pumping on a coaster is with the launch. I've experienced plenty of launch coasters, including ones that have LAMs and LSMs. I've got the chance to experience 9 different launch coasters as of mid-July of 2024, and this is all of them ranked. So if you're new here and want some coaster content, this is a good channel to be at. And before we start, this list will eventually get an update as I experience more launch coasters soon. So ranking dead last is the least thrilling launch coaster that I have ridden, and that is Slinky Dog Dash. This is the only mock grass coaster you will see on here, and this coaster actually kind of surprised me in a good way. It exceeds my expectations a little bit, not on the theming, but on the forces. On those 4 back-to-back bunny hops, the final 2 gave a little airtime, but not a lot. I was also expecting no airtime on every hill, but 2 pops is better than nothing. But anyway, I like the theming you whiz around, but the launches aren't that special. The second launch had a little gear change, which was unexpected, but this coaster overall is not that great. But I get it, it's a family coaster. And actually, there are 4 more family launch coasters we will hit up in this video, and this is my least favorite. On to the number 8 spot, I have a sentimental attachment to this coaster, and that is Backlot Stunt coaster. The reason why I have a sentimental attachment to this ride is because this is the pioneer for this list. It was my first ever launch coaster, and one time I did a marathon on it and got 6 laps on the coaster. I was obsessed with it, and then I experienced the big boy coasters with Diamondback, Mystic, and Orion. Then this coaster kind of lost my attention on what rides to do at Kings Island. It is a shame, but I look at this as a long memory. The number 7 spot is given to a fun coaster with FireChaser Express. Just like Slinky Dog, this is the only coaster you will see from Gerstlauer that is on this list, and it's a good time. This is easily one of the best family coasters I have ridden. Also with Slinky Dog, this kind of exceeded my expectations as well. The backwards launch had me hovering over my lap bar because of how intense it was. I also like the theming in the shed with all the fireworks storage. Then Big Bertha is gonna blow and you launch backwards. That's a fun moment on this ride. On to the number 6 spot. I'm putting this on here because I'm narrowing down this ride experience to just the launch. It's because everything else is dookie, and that is with Flight of Fear. The launch for this coaster is spectacular. Every time you go to ride it, the ride operator plays a little trick before the launch, and it's so creative every time. There's this one time where the ride operator said, "Alright, launching in 5, 4, 3, and bam, I was gone." I also love the theming in the station and in the queue, but the layout in the spaghetti bowl minus the corkscrew is pretty garbage because it has a pretty bad rattle, and the restraints aren't that great either. Last time I rode it, I got stapled pretty badly, so that ride experience wasn't that good, but that launch is fantastic. Now we're in the top 5. Starting it off is Cheetah Hunt. If you got the chance to experience Maverick at Cedar Point, and spoiler alert, I will get to that coaster later, this is basically Maverick but dial it back. Because when I rode it, it was definitely reminiscent of Maverick. The 3 launches are okay though. The first one has a little kick in an unexpected way and it gets me every time. The second launch is okay as well, but this time you don't feel any forces. The third has a little kick to it, and that's fine. A moment that caught my attention was the lone inversion, the barrel roll. That has great hang time, but my biggest problem with this coaster is the restraints. Every time there is a strong airtime moment or during that barrel roll, your shoulders really dig into them and it's very uncomfortable. It would be the dream if Busch Gardens swapped the trains with lap bars like on Pantheon, Tutatis, Taiga, Velocicoaster, you name it. At the number 4 spot, this is the other launch coaster at Busch Gardens, and that is Tigris. This is the lone premier ride Skyrocket 2 that I have been on, and this is the best premiere I have been on. The swing lunges are pretty good. The best one out of the 3 is the second one, aka the backwards one. You actually get some speed, and going up the non-inverting loop is just so intense. And if you do this in the front, you get some fantastic airtime going into the Heartland roll, but if you're in the back, holy crap, that twisted drop is crazy. You get actual ejector, and if you want me to get more in depth into this attraction, make sure to check out my review. And now we're in the big moment, top 3. And before we hop into it, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to subscribe to show your support for this channel. But anyway, at number 3, this is a classic launch coaster with Rock and Roller Coaster. This was most of the Enthusiast's first launch coaster, but it wasn't for me. When I had the chance to ride it in 2019, I was scared of coasters, so I took the L and chickened out. But 4 years later, I was an enthusiast. The nerves I had back in 2019 were nowhere to be seen, and I kind of regret not doing it in 2019. Just like Flight of Fear, the launch Into the Dark is phenomenal. phenomenal. I also got to ride it before it was closed for the entirety of the spring and most of the winter, so I got on it at the perfect time. But anyway, the 3 inversions are really cool because of the forces. They were really weird in the dark. I also like the 3D cutouts that are spreaded all around the layout. Onto the number 2 spot. This coaster doesn't currently have a launch, but I wanted to put this coaster on here because I got to ride it twice with its launch, and that is the iconic and legendary Lightning Rod. This is what it looks like when I rode it, and there is a reason why the launch was removed, to improve reliability, but now it's not the same as what it used to be. I heard of it back in 2019, and it was one of the best coasters in the world. It was in the top 5 for a lot of people, but it's kind of forgettable now because the launch is gone. I mean, the quad down, the twist and shout, and the first drop are phenomenal elements, but they do not hit the same as the launch. It is placed at number 4 in my top 25, and I do like it better than Millennium Force, but I can't place Millie that high. And speaking of Cedar Point, y'all probably know what takes the cake at the number 1 spot, and that is Maverick. This was the obvious choice for the number 1 spot, and this is my favorite instrument at the time that this video was published. The first drop is freaking demented. It has a big kink to it. It's like a cresting and then bam, you hit 95 degrees down out of nowhere. One part that got me real good is the second stangle dive. I was actually holding onto the soft strap restraints. This coaster also has great airtime moments like the aforementioned first drop and airtime mode after the quick S-bends. I do like the lone inversions with the twisted horseshoe roll. Maverick easily tops the list of all the launch coasters I've ridden as of mid-July of 2024 ranked. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give this video a like, and you can subscribe if you want to. There will be more ranked videos coming out soon, and make sure to keep that adrenaline pumping, and thanks for watching.